Welcome to this webinar. I'll just introduce ourselves again. I'm Jiggy Patel, Head of Customer Experience here at Gold Vision, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mark Vernon.
Hi there, nice to meet you all.
So just to give you a little bit of background about us individually, as Head of Customer Experience, I've actually come from a background of implementing CRM, project managing CRM, but now I'm more account managing, but I'm also part of the new business team here at Gold Vision. And I'll let Mark introduce himself as well.
Hi there, my name is Mark Vernon. I'm General Manager of the Canadian office, so I'm focusing on our North American interest there. My history with Gold Vision is potted. Originally, I was helping develop the product and leading that. And the last year or so, I've been moving over into business development and developing the North American office. So a lot of what I'm talking about today is coming from personal experience. Looking forward to sharing that with you.
So CRM is the secret to sales enablement success. Between us, Mark and I are going to take you through, like Mark says, from personal experience, how we've got sales enablement success using, obviously, our product Gold Vision, but we're going to use this in general terms as to how a CRM tool can really help you to, enable your sales. So what is sales enablement? It's a buzzword that's been going around quite a lot. Very recently, I've seen loads of webinars on sales enablement. And, a lot of people say to me, well, what is it? Well, if we take sales is the act of buying something, some goods, some services for money. Whereas enablement is helping someone to be able to do something better. And if you put the two of those together, we've got there a nice little quote there. It's a series of processes that arm not just sales, but marketing too, with functions and knowledge. And that can really be broken down into three areas that we've put up here: resource, process, and people. In terms of resources, we're talking about insights, we're talking about data. In terms of process, it's just that. So the act of doing something, and obviously the people that will help you manage that as well. Armed with these three areas, the slides that we take you through next really drill down into those areas and how you can enable your team, but also the processes that you use.
Absolutely. And the thing I found with this is, if you're not familiar with the term, it's something you know already. And as we go through, hopefully you'll find that a lot of these topics are very familiar to you. And actually, you can use this as a point of reflection and learning.
So why is sales enablement important? And we actually flip back to this slide at the end of the webinar. And what it just allows you to think about is, in terms of sales enablement, this is what we want. This is what, as a team, we want to achieve: team engagement, increased customer retention, loyalty, a more productive sales team, but also a quality of lead. And at the end of the day, we all want that trusted partner status. That's why sales enablement is important. And the steps that we actually take you through today as part of the slides will hopefully help you to understand how that can be achieved.
Absolutely. And we're going to be bringing this back to whether you're going to be using your CRM to do that. And is that something you're currently doing? We've actually got a question here for you.
So I'm going to pop up a little poll for you and share that into the chat window. So just tell us, do you currently use a CRM system? Either yes, no, or maybe you're thinking about it at some point in the future. We're very much focusing today on how a CRM can help, but hopefully this gives you an insight into how it can help and the results that it can give you as well. So interesting that we've got a mixture of people, but predominantly no. So hopefully this webinar is going to give you a little bit of a burst and spearhead you thinking about how it can help you, what it can do for you as well. So with that, here are our 8 steps to actually promote sales enablement with CRM. Now, Mark has actually very recently written a blog, which he'll be sharing, certainly on his LinkedIn profile, but do link in with him because he's written a blog about these specific areas. And we've identified that there are 8 steps to promote enablement with your CRM. And what we're going to do is just drill down into these a little bit further so that you can understand how each of these points helps you to actually achieve success with your CRM system, but also, achieve that team gel that you have. So very quickly, a clear and simple process is all important right from the beginning. Knowing your customer, setting clear goals, using reporting as a feedback tool, but also consistency, automation, communication choice to ultimately help you build that team solution.
So we're going to be going through each of these in detail, and as well as a link to this video after the webinar is completed, we will send around a link to the blog that Jiggy mentioned when that goes live too. Sales enablement is all about removing barriers, making things easy, and we're going to cover 8 key areas here, but it might be that there's something you're experiencing that we don't talk about here. So please feel free to pop in the chat any questions or perhaps any blockers that you've got to the sales process right now, and we can endeavour to talk about those too. So
step number 1, a clear and simple process or processes. Here, whatever CRM system you pick or choose or even are using now, you should think about a clear and very simple process to make sure your sales team is engaged more than anything. You should be able to use your own terminology and configure the fields that you want, or reduce the fields or expand on the fields. Basically configure the screen how you would like to see it and categorize your data. The minimal number of fields, the better. I don't know how many times I've been involved in implementation projects when the clear goal from the beginning is we need to keep it simple because our sales team just won't fill in the fields. But as that project progresses, more and more fields come onto the screen. Do think about your objectives as a business and as a sales team and keep to them. Do you really need all of those fields, and what are you going to do with the information afterwards? But also think about, if you do go for a CRM solution, automating some of the workflow that you've got just to save manual entry of information. Don't know if you've got anything further on that one, Mark, from any of the projects that you've worked on as well.
Absolutely. I would definitely say it should fit hand to glove. So coming in and using it shouldn't present any barriers or feel like some extra task you have to do there. Make it as easy as possible, because there's lots of benefits you can get out of using a CRM. We're going to talk about that in a little bit when we talk about reporting and feedback, but definitely think about it in terms of doing your job and doing the process. Does it just feel natural coming into it? And if not, then answer the questions, why not? Get it configured to fit your business.
And we actually have a great process in Gold Vision actually that works well, where you can, when you maybe change the status of an opportunity or progress the sale that you're on, as the stages change, you see more fields. So you're giving the information that people need at the right time. So, as they're more advanced with their opportunity, the more information you need for qualification and to progress that. So moving on to step 2, all important, know your customer. We're in a different age right now with social media available to us. Our customers and our prospects that we speak to, they expect you to know their business, their competitors, their products, how they work before you actually engage with them. A CRM tool absolutely lets you capture and track those sales insights all in one single place. Have somewhere in your CRM system to put not just key insights and information, but sales trends, documents, pictures. Everything that you're doing should be able to be easily accessible by your sales team.
And it's creating that 360 view as well. And one of the conversations I've had a lot recently, especially with some new prospects, is where they are saying, I speak to people during the sales process or as they become a customer, that they've had an issue or there's been a different communication point that I'm not aware of elsewhere in my business. And then I'm now ignorant to that, and that can be a bit embarrassing. It can be a bit awkward when you're on the phone to a customer and there's some information you don't know. So tracking all that information and creating that 360 view is just so important.
Yeah, gone are the times when I remember I used to train salespeople and say, yeah, but my contact is far too important to put in the CRM system. It's my contact and I need to work with them. It's really important to capture that information in, a shared tool so that everyone understands how to get the best out of that customer or prospect and have it in somewhere that's clearly visible and available.
Yeah, trying to get that on one page if possible.
So step number 3 and 4, we've put here, set clear goals, but use reporting as a feedback loop. Very often when we're dealing with CRM implementations, one of the first things we say is set your business goals. Think about not just your sales team, your marketing team, but as a business, think about your goals. And typically one of those is, I want to keep it simple because I need people to use this tool. But also, typically what I say is you need to think about the information that you want to capture. And in that way, think about the reports that you need to generate first, and then work your CRM system backwards in that way. If you're using a CRM solution, build your CRM tool into the meetings that you're having. Well, we use Gold Vision in all the sales meetings. In fact, all of the meetings we have throughout the business. So ensure that you set it up so it has all of that key information available for you so that you can use it as part of your everyday business.
The question I routinely ask people is, ask yourself, what questions do you need to answer as an individual and as a team and as a business? Think about those 3 horizons to help you improve.
So moving on to step 5, consistency. All important, but really easy to achieve if you're using a CRM system. Certainly with a product like Gold Vision and many other tools, you can build workflow and automate workflows so that, as we touched on earlier, you don't have to do too much manual entry. And your team can maybe have automated reminders or emails, a week before something needs to happen, or an activity that's automatically created so that they remember to chase that quote. That kind of thing's really easy to build into a CRM system, and you should think about that as part of your sales process. But think also about building consistency with things like templates, Word document templates for proposals, for quoting. We use Adobe eSign for all of our agreements, but also our contracts as well. And it just means that people don't have to think about things too much. It's already there for them. And, marketing automation is just a great tool to spearhead and nurture the prospects that you're actually capturing. So definitely something to look into.
Absolutely. I think this is, from personal experience, I would say this is one of the ones not to overlook. It's so important, especially if you're thinking about bringing new members into your team, or if you're developing your processes here. And the phrase we use here and also on one of the future slides is saving your brain for the important stuff. It's just so important. One of the things we use actually that's to great effect in this area I can share with you is during our sales process, we have a qualification stage where we identify key information and key points at which the sale is at, and use that to answer the questions about next steps. It's really consistent. It means you're not left there kind of finger in the air, what should I do next, and what's the value of this? It makes it really easy. It takes something that could be quite complex and makes it very, very simple, and sort of leads the sales team through that point of the process.
A really simple form of consistency as well is most CRM tools, certainly Gold Vision can integrate Gmail, Outlook Mail automatically, so that you can track emails going backwards and forwards to contacts as part of the CRM system. They're linked to a contact, a company. So again, you've got that shared vision and shared communication all in one single place. So consistency is really important just to keep your team on side, but look at things like integrations where you can help the team not to do anything too manually.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's going to save you lots of time and lots of brain power.
Moving on to step 6, again, focusing on consistency. Automating key tasks is just as important. In Gold Vision, we're really fortunate where we can actually provide intelligent automations, and this is part of the standard admin area. Very early on, we give users training on how to build their own workflow, but also to set up simple automation workflow that says, well, if my quote hasn't closed by a certain estimated close date, highlight a field in red. Or if I've created an opportunity that's above a certain value, highlight it in a purple color. These kind of intelligent automations can just really help focus you when you're looking at data without having to, really drill into it. But, we have a lead management tool which you can easily integrate with website analytics and website tracking. So, people that have been on your website, score them, track them, and maybe use that as part of a lead nurture campaign. And marketing automation. Again, you're focusing on where your leads have shown the interest rather than wasting time trying to cold call or think about the people that you should actually be getting in touch with.
Absolutely. And it's so kind of, I'm sure we've all been there where we've sort of rabbit holed into a couple of opportunities maybe, or customer relationships there. And then when you bring your head above water again, having to manually think about all these other things it's saving your brain for the important stuff. So even it's simple things, just highlighting key dates there to remind you about what you need to do next. It just saves you time, takes away some energy there.
So in the run-up, number 7, offer communication choice. It's really important, as a business, whatever you do, give your customers the choice, or the prospects the choice of how they actually communicate with you. Yes, certainly offer email, phone, but think about, tools like live chat or a customer portal. Again, like Adobe eSign, it saves people having to call you, having to email you. They're simply clicking a button to accept the order that they've received from you. Certainly for us here, we introduced live chat probably only a few years ago, 3-4 years ago now. But as soon as we introduced it, the number of support queries, conversations that we were having via live chat was just as much as phone calls that we were receiving. And it just means that it gives people that quick chance to get in touch without having to worry about actually speaking to someone, because not everyone wants to talk to someone nowadays. And quite often, a lot of the communications I'm having are actually on LinkedIn.
Absolutely, yeah. And the other thing that's important here is to track that communication as well as providing the choice. But perhaps think about recording the preference there. Think about team members, and we're going to come back to team in a minute, so I won't talk too much about that. But also thinking about, have you recorded all that communication in there? So when you come back into this through all those different means, you know where the conversation is. And it could be, sure, you're having a conversation with someone on live chat, but you also might be talking to them on the phone, or you may be emailing them too. So having that consistent flow of communication is so important to be recorded.
And very lastly, our last step is build a team solution. Don't just pigeonhole it to sales, although I say that very often in early implementations that we get involved in where people are new to CRM for the first time, we absolutely say don't try and do everything at once. Get it in for the sales team, maybe then involve the marketing team, but then build that further. So a CRM tool should be able to help you integrate all of those teams. Absolutely, it will help integrate your sales and your marketing team. If you go for an integrated email marketing tool, your sales team and your marketing team can very closely work together and, get in touch with the leads that you're actually receiving or you're nurturing at that time. But certainly a tool like Gold Vision can be used for support, project management, event management, but whatever you do, find a solution that fits the whole business and you can all work together. Like Mark said earlier, that 360 view is really important for sales enablement.
Absolutely. And it's something we do as a sales team all the time is supporting each other and bouncing ideas off. And I'm sure you may be familiar with that. And one of the great things in my experience is having the information in there and up to date. So you can say, I want to talk about this opportunity. I'd just like to bounce some ideas about this customer. It just makes it very, very easy if you've got that information to hand and in a consistent way. In addition, when you're thinking about team solution, you've got, as well as the team sharing there, you've got the motivation of being able to support each other. But also think about what happens if someone is on holiday or unavailable, or if you're working as a team on something. How is that information going to be shared around your business, if not in a CRM system or a central repository? It's one of the main drivers for CRM. Have the conversation all the time. Salespeople bumping into each other or no visibility between each other's leads, and it's simple stuff. But
And as an account manager, I reminisce on times when I was able to visit my customers on site, and I'd be able to sit in the car park with my phone, looking through, the customer record on Gold Vision. And it was just so all important to not only see, well, what have I tracked about this customer? But if that customer had been in touch with my support team the night before or the day before, and I'd been not able to see that, I can read the emails, I can see that tracking history, because it's all in one place. And that really allows teams to work together. But ultimately, it makes you look that much more professional, because you're all of a joined up thinking. You're all working off the same page. So building a team solution is all important, not just having a solution for the sales team. And with all of those in mind, we thought it was a good opportunity just to think about, yes, we have good sales team, but what really makes a great sales team? Having talked about the 8 steps that we've just gone through, a great sales team knows the customer. They spend the time to look at their website. I mean, Mark and I know, before we speak to a prospect, but even a customer, looking at their website, looking at their LinkedIn profile, following their company, looking at who the contacts are that we should be targeting is all important. We're in an ever-changing environment right now, and businesses are changing quicker than ever right now, evolving new products, new services, because they have to. So just keeping up with what they're doing is all important. Knowing your products and services as a sales team member makes a great salesperson, but also your product trends and industry trends for the customer that you're actually talking to. As a business, have processes for qualifying your leads quickly. A CRM tool, Mark touched on it earlier. We actually, as a sales team, have qualification processes built in to our CRM, which means that when we receive these leads, we can qualify them very quickly and spend predominantly the time that we need to on the leads that matter, because they have shown interest, they've scored highly, we know that they're in our sweet spot, they're in the industry that works really well with the product that we've got.
One of the traps you can fall into actually is just following all the leads, especially at the moment, because times are difficult for a lot of people. I'm sure many people listening will empathise with that, and so the temptation there is to feel busy by chasing all the leads, but actually is that the best thing? Are you chasing the wrong leads?
A great sales team works as a team. They share their opportunities. And, again, as Mark touched on, we have our individual opportunities that we work on as a sales team, but as part of our sales meeting, it's a shared team vision. It's a shared approach, because we all have insights that we can bring to the opportunities that we can work on. There's nothing hidden in there. And, again, a great sales team member works as part of a shared system for the whole business, not just for themselves or for the sales team alone. So with that in mind, just coming back to the first slide that we put up there, why is sales enablement important? Having followed the 8 steps, it should bring you the ability to promote team engagement if you're using a CRM system. It allows the vision to be shared across teams. Whether you start with sales and then build on other teams afterwards, it will promote team engagement throughout the business. Of course, it will increase customer retention and loyalty, because the knowing your customer, understanding your products, your trends and your services is all important, and it should reap that. A more productive sales team, because you're qualifying those leads quicker, and the quality of those leads is much better, because what about those leads. A CRM system will tell you whether or not it's a duplicate, whether you've dealt with them before. I don't know how many times we enter leads in our lead management tool and it pops up with, oh yes, we worked with them in 2015. or even earlier than that, and who were we talking to and what were the barriers. So that information is really easy to pick up again. But having all that insight, having all that knowledge, ultimately for you as a sales team and a business, it's going to give you that trusted partner status because you look that much more professional. It takes you to that next level because all of that information is available to you at hand. So, hopefully you can see how you can achieve success by using a CRM system to really spearhead your sales enablement. And those 8 steps are really key. Any questions from anyone? I didn't know if you had anything else to add there, Mark, but if anyone's got any specific questions about CRM, about sales enablement that they'd like to put to me or Mark, please do go ahead. There's 5 minutes or so left, but yeah, pop into the chat window if you've got any specific questions. I'm guessing as part of the webinar, we've got people that are potentially new to sales, or they're just interested in understanding what sales enablement and the term means. But hopefully some of the information that Mark and I and experiences that we've been able to share will resonate with you, will have helped you, and will help you take it to that next level further as well.
Certainly. So, Catriona, there's a question here. How do you send mass email to a targeted group of contacts? That's a great question.
It's a great question. It's really easy if you've got a CRM solution, Katrina. We absolutely do mass targeted marketing, not just to contacts who are customers and prospects that we're actually live working with, but you've also got the ability with a CRM tool to have an area where you're capturing leads that you may not have qualified, but you've got them from your website, you've got them from other places. So absolutely, you can do targeted mass mailing just from the lead management area or to your customer contact base as well.
Absolutely. The keyword there is targeted, isn't it? And if you record the right information in your CRM, then you can send the emails to the right people there rather than just sort of firing out to everyone every time.
And personalizing it is important as well, which gives you that chance. Paul, does Gold Vision integrate well with most accounting software? Yes, absolutely. We have a standard integration with Sage 50, Sage 200, Xero, and also Xero as well, and a number of others. So do pop on our website. We've got a number of accounting integrations, but get in touch with me or Mark if you'd like to speak to us further about that.
Simon, how can potential customers make an inquiry in a way that goes directly into the CRM?
Website integration, absolutely, really popular right now. Everyone wants to integrate their website and capture that information really quickly and start working on it. So Gold Vision offers a website integration. If you've got a number of forms on your website, and you need a CRM tool to be able to start to qualify and nurture and market to those leads quickly, get in touch with us. It certainly offers it. Thanks, Katrina. I'm sure I'll be in touch with you soon.
Any tips on how to qualify leads? That's a fantastic question. The answer will lie in yourself a little bit there. Ask yourself what profile of business, what profile of lead is important to you. Where are the benefits, the particular industries that are good for you, or particular types of business that are relevant? Do you need to know about budget? You can't beat classic SWOT analysis, really, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. If you haven't looked at that before, I definitely recommend doing that. It's simple, tried and tested.
We offer rate our leads quite often, don't we, Mark? Think about the criteria that you want to qualify your leads on and rate them with a number, 1 to 3, 1 to 5. And that allows you to very quickly deal with the ones. But you need to just think about what are the criteria that are important to you. Who do you see as a hot lead versus a cold lead? And that will allow you to very quickly update your CRM system to capture those quickly. And it might be that you deal with different leads in a different way. So you might send mass marketing to a bunch of leads that cold, but you just want to keep them warm and keep them ongoing, warm and nurtured. Whereas you might deal with the number ones in a slightly different way by, doing a phone call or a more personalized email to them. Another minute or so. Any other questions, anyone? I hope you found the webinar useful. Do get in touch with Mark and I. Either, drop us an email. I've put up our contact details here. The webinar will be available on our YouTube channel. We've got other, lots of other great webinars up there as well. And Mark will be posting his blog in the very near future. So do link in with us both so that you can receive, the 8 steps and some of the tips that we've been talking about. Thanks very much, Paul. Lovely to, have you on the webinar today. Thanks all. It's been great. Some great questions. Really good to have you with us today, and hopefully it's been really useful.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, everyone. Please reach out if you have further questions.